Okay, hello everyone. The co-host and host of DevOps Institute India chapter, are excited to bring to you all today the first discussion of our SRE series of events, things that actually matters for SRE practitioners. So it's indeed a great kickoff topic for our highly voted topic of 2021. Let me say that we had a lot of discussions on what should be the first topic to host up our India chapter, and we were mainly targeting about tools and more about the CI/CD integration workflows. But as per what the current trend says, everybody is interested on knowing more about the nuances of SRE, how exactly that fits in the whole scheme of things. And that's the reason we have picked this topic to be the first topic to continue for 3 months, so that we can get our audience and ourselves rolling with the kickoff of this India chapter in 2021. With this, we are pleased to have Dinesh Ekar. Dinesh, thanks for speaking to us on this topic. So Dinesh comes from Standard Chartered, wherein he leads the SRE transformation space, and he is almost, I think, if I'm not wrong with the number, more than 2 decades into this space, where he has led a lot of transformations on the ground. And with that, he is very much excited to connect with all of us today and talk more about how this transformation is actually impacting this whole space of IT operations. What are the things which looks to be too good but are not that good, and how does a SRE practitioner think of this role to be fine-tuned for their aspiration? There are a lot of exciting questions we are expecting from you as well. So if there is a question that you have for Dinesh, please feel free to drop a note to me or keep it to yourself. At the end of this whole discussion, I think Dinesh will be more than happy to take up your questions. With that, we'll start with the first question that we have. So, SRE, just to begin this whole topic and give our viewers a context, how exactly that this outlining has come, Dinesh, over this whole years, and in terms of the essence of this role, how exactly do you think this 3 point will work? First, why do we need this role in the first place? What exactly this whole outline of SRE helps us to do a function? Second, who needs this role? How do we separate our responsibilities as a DevOps engineer versus SRE engineer? And third, how does this role enable an organization or a business division to perform better than what they're doing right now? Over to you, Dinesh.
Those three are major topics by itself. Each and every one is a major topic by itself. Thanks, Santanu. So thank you everyone for having me here today. I'm happy to be here representing DevOps Institute. I'm also one of the ambassadors of DevOps Institute as well. And I've been doing SRE transformation for the last 2.5 years or 2.5 years right now. But I purely come from a service management background. So I've always been I've been since 2011 or so, I've been an ITIL expert. So I come from a very strong service management background, and I've done service management transformation and implemented service management transformations across various enterprise organizations as well, MNC organizations. Yeah. So coming from that strong background, I have always been a very big fan of ITIL, information, which we are all very familiar with. Something that defined the practices of IT operations, how we had incident management, change management, problem management, event management, etc., and so on. So coming from that background, and one of the main challenges, I think we'll talk about one of the challenges of why do we need this role in the first place, right? I think that was the very first question, Santanu. Now, before I start, let me just tell you guys, I was just sharing with Santana and Aparna as well. I just got reminded just 10 minutes back about this particular session. I completely forgot about this. I thought it is going to be tomorrow. So I did not prepare anything. So whatever I'm sharing with you is just purely based on experience, and I have not done any research, or I don't have any pointers written down. So just upfront and honest with you guys on that. Okay, so why do we need this role? So coming from this pure IT background, or ITIL and IT service management background, I have seen organizations which has very high maturity in change management. Let's take change management for example. High maturity, like from a CMMI level 5 of change management. But CMMI level 5 of change management, some organization have easily from 5 to 9 approvals, and just the approval takes about a week for the change to be implemented into production. But even if it is implemented in production, there is still a problem with regards to, that could be an incident due to change and etc. So the very first thing with regards to why do we need SRE in terms of the modern as a modern service management approach is for us to focus on service management in a very modernized approach, in a very agile approach, to meet the demand of the delivery life cycle. So when I say this, the organization or the businesses today, it is focused on delivering. Time to market, delivering customer needs, or delivering business to the market, and how quickly can we do that. So time to market becomes a need at something as quickly as possible in the much more resilient and much more agile and much more safe manner. At the same time, this software or the code that is being delivered into production will meet the needs, will meet the demand at the non-functional requirement of the customer, of the business, of the organization as well. Today, with the adoption of DevOps in many organizations, with the maturity of DevOps in many organizations, at the same time, operationally, we are still very much focused on legacy infrastructure. Think of our infrastructure as a house. Just take an illustration, right? Think of it as a house, and imagine you are making changes to the house. Imagine you are renovating the house every single month. What is going to happen in a week or in a month or in a year is that you are going to drill so many holes in the house that you will never know when was the last time you drilled a hole or where did you drill a hole. What is going to happen in a year or 2 years or 3 years down the road is that this infrastructure is going to collapse. House is going to collapse. That is exactly what is happening to our service management approaches as well. The VM-based architecture, or the 3-tier architecture, or a traditional infrastructure architecture that we have is the house that I'm talking about. And all the changes that we are bringing in, whether we are talking about software changes or operational changes, operating system changes, security vulnerability changes, or any other changes that we are doing it on the house, and that is going to break. But then we cannot stop the demands that is coming into the market. We can't stop this. We can't slow down the velocity. So how do we get this balance between the velocity and also having a very reliable infrastructure? That is exactly where SRE comes in, to give the level of confidence to the organization and to the business, saying that, you want to deliver velocity, you want to increase the velocity. I will ensure that infrastructure is going to be reliable and is going to deliver the level of resiliency that you need, so that you can push the velocity, you can push the changes as fast as you want, as quickly as you want. And of course, coming into the delivery life cycle or to the DevOps life cycle, make sure that your codes are also secure and automated as well. So the end-to-end focus is what we are looking at right now. And at the end of the pipeline is operations. To deliver the resiliency of this operations is very, very important. And that is exactly the challenges that the traditional operation organizations has been having, purely based on ITIL-based service management. And SRE today comes in with modern service management practices to meet this demand which organizations are facing. And that is exactly why organizations need to embrace SRE. And that is also one of the factors that we have been seeing on why organizations are why organizations are faced with the urgent need to embrace SRE. So Santanu, over to you with regards to why do we need this role and who needs this role? So who needs this role is the second question, right? So that is basically in terms of everybody, every other organization today, whoever is focusing on modern cloud native DevOps based, implementation, is any organization that we have today who is running on legacy infrastructures, 3-tier architectures, or legacy platforms, who wants to focus on delivering value to the customers, value to the organization, basically everybody. So every one of us here today needs to embrace SRE, or every other organization today. It is much need. It's a need of the moment, need of the hour right now. Not only the hour today, but also for the future as well. Over to you, Santanu and Aparna.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Dinesh. That was a good what do I say, an introduction to all our audience and to us also. So knowing that in today's day and age, I just went through some reports where LinkedIn says out of the emerging job reports which is there, SRE is the fifth fastest growing job role, about 34% of growth which is there. So with such a fact that is there, how does this role, which has come up recently, how does this role impact the overall development? How does it accelerate the development and continuous innovation? That's my question.
Okay. So let's talk about SRE as a role and SRE as a discipline by itself. Because first of all, I think SRE, more than it being a role, SRE, it's a discipline by itself. It's a practice. It's a way of work. It's a new ways of working. People today, I think many organization talks about new ways of working and so on. So SRE is also one such thing as well. It's an emerging practice. I think I won't say it's an emerging practice. It has been matured in few organizations, but many other organizations are trying to adopt it and adapt it at the same time. So first of all, SRE, site reliability engineering by itself, is a discipline. Now, why is it very, very important, and how does it support the delivery and also the continuous innovation, right? Traditionally, like for myself as well, I come from a service management and also an operations background. Majority of service operations or IT operations engineers, majority of them in many of the organizations, let's talk about an incident. When you get an incident, what do we do today? As an IT engineer, we will try to troubleshoot, and if we can't know what exactly is the issue, we may try to restart the services, hoping that it works. And the second thing that we do is, once it works, then probably we'll try to look into the logs, take some error messages, collect some findings, and then once we have that finding, we will send it to the next level team. And what also happens is that once the incident is closed, we don't really look into that incident anymore, unless some other team focus on continuous improvement, or the problem management team comes in to look into what are the trends and try to come in with a permanent solutions and so on. As an SRE, what we are trying to do is, we are saying that, okay, let's talk about the traditional way of doing things. There is an incident. As an IT engineer, any other IT engineer, I go in, try to troubleshoot, I restart my services, and let's say this becomes a major incident which needs a root cause analysis and etc. So there is a problem management team that will be involved. They focus on delivering analysis, a report focusing on deep diving and etc. That may take easily about 5 days to a month sometimes, and then they look into the root cause, and that is given to the development team for them to create a patch or create a solution, and for that solution to be implemented. The whole thing can easily take about 2 months or so. In any other organization, easily about 30 days to a month. Again, I'm talking about a permanent solution. A quick fix or a workaround, that could be done within a couple of days or within a week. But a permanent solution for a new code or a configuration to be changed, to be deployed into production, can easily be a month or 2 months. As an SRE, what we are also saying is that as an SRE, there is a term that is used in SRE's book, which is called as wisdom of production. So what do we mean by wisdom of production is that as an SRE engineer, you know the production system much better than anybody within the organization. So when you try to troubleshoot, when you do a root cause analysis, when you know exactly what the problem is, why should you hand that over to a delivery team or maybe a L3 team? Why should that happen, rather than you yourself can actually focus on developing a change to the code, making change to the configuration, implement it in production, so that becomes, you are fully accountable for your infrastructure, for your services. So as a role by itself, it is very, very important. Why? Because first of all, we are upskilling the team. We are upskilling an engineer. As an engineer, we no longer just do restart. We no longer just stop and start services hoping things will work. That is no longer what SRE has to do. As an SRE, you are going to find the root cause. You are going to bring in the level of resiliency and reliability. And of course, there are concepts that is coming up as well, by using error budget, SLOs and error budget and so on. So let's just talk about that, right? So first of all, we are talking about as an SRE by role itself, you are upskilling yourself, you are elevating your expertise, you are elevating your skills. And by doing that, focusing on automation, by doing that, you're also focusing on auto healing kind of functionality, so the resiliency of the organization or the resiliency of the services is much improved. That is the very first thing. Second thing is, as an SRE, how do you support the delivery pipeline or the continuous delivery pipeline, and also focusing on innovation, right? When we focus on, I'll give you a practical example. When we started doing SRE, one of the first thing that we looked at is eliminating toil. When we focused on eliminating toil, we focused on end-to-end pipeline. End-to-end pipeline mostly in operations, but also we did a shift left, focusing on deployment management, release management, testing, and etc. So we were able to bring in automation in each and every aspect, improving the time taken to deliverables. So example is in terms of regression testing, for example, for someone to work on a regression pack, someone to do manual regression testing, it again takes, depending on application to application, but on an average 5 days to 10 days. By automating this regression pack, that 5 days to 10 days of manual testing is reduced to just few hours, 2 to 3 hours of automated testing. That increases the velocity as well. That is supporting your continuous delivery, accelerating your development. The question that you are asking about, accelerating the development and accelerating the delivery. So as an SRE, bring in, for myself, once we bring in a level of maturity, resiliency, maturity within the operations, definitely we need to start focusing on a shift left model where we are able to bring in a level of automation, bring in mostly toil elimination. Toil elimination will focus on automation as well, process efficiency, process improvement, and automation in those areas. And that we have seen that from a release cycle of a month, from end-to-end cycle time, right? From the time of requirement, from the time of development to the production deployment, it can easily take about a month. And because of some of the work that SRE brings into the organization, that month has been reduced to a week. Now, the next step is for us, the next leg of the race for us is to reduce 1 week to even days. That is where we are currently working on. And SRE is a very, very key, essential part of this whole journey for us, because SRE is driving this. And of course, not only SRE, we need to give credits to the development and the delivery team as well. Without their support, SRE will not be able to do this. So that is where collaboration also comes much hand in hand.
Absolutely. I have a question on that, the collaboration part, but can you define for our audience in a very simple way, toil?
Okay. Toil is anything which doesn't create value. Okay, toil is something that, let's say I am working, I'm creating a report. Okay, the process of me creating a report, it's a toil. The report by itself, it is not a toil, because the report is going to be used by your business or by a senior management. So the report itself is not toil. So the process of me, what effort do I need to put in for me to create that report? So is my time valuable? As an engineer as an engineer do solutions. The concept of engineering by itself doesn't matter what engineer, right? Whether it's civil engineer or mechanical engineer or IT engineer, what are we supposed to do? Engineers are supposed to create products or create solutions or create services which should be of use to someone. So the process of me creating this report, there is no engineering work over here. I'm not bringing in a solution over here. So that manual effort of me going to some websites, going to some pages, or collecting some data in my Excel file, putting 3 or 4 different Excel files together, spreadsheets together, and to generate the report, or even uploading the data to some dashboards and massaging the data, those kind of activity is what toil is, because first of all, it doesn't create value for us. SRE book defines toil as anything which is manual. This manual work, anything that can be automatable, And this manual work that we repeat on a very regular basis. So report generation is something that we may repeat on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. It is manual, it is repeatable, it is automatable, and fourth one is which doesn't create any value. So what is value? Again, value in terms of business, in terms of customers. Does it worth the money that you have been hired for? At the end of the day, right? Someone is paying money for you to work as an engineer, but for you to create these reports, is it really engineering work? And that is the fourth one. And last one, I think it says something about linear scaling. So as this, let's say today you're working on one report, but let's say you have to work on 10 reports in the next couple of months. When the report starts coming in, you need to spend more and more effort. So, and that is also called as engineering bankruptcy. As long as you are working on an engineering bankruptcy, as long as you are bankrupt by your engineering work, because of you're not you have studied something, like for example, many of us have studied something, right? Sometimes I think I studied zoology and botany, during my schooling time. I'm not using that today at all. So that is a bankruptcy by itself. So as an engineer, are we able to apply our engineering skills to create value? If we are not, then that is an engineering bankruptcy, and that is why we now call the term as toil, and we focus on toil reduction.
I really like the term engineering bankruptcy. I'm going to use it more now. So yeah, coming back to the fact, collaboration. So DevOps is all about continuously collaborating.
Yeah.
And DevOps, SRE, two different roles which are the talk of the town. So how do they overlap? What do you see?
Okay. So I think when they developed DevOps pipeline, if all of you can connect to the infinity loop, right, within DevOps. So the infinity loop starts from plan, build, plan, develop, then build, and then release. If you remember that infinity loop, the entire delivery life cycle will be mentioned over there. But for operations, they only give you very, very small focus. They say operate and then run. But then we know that operation is not such a simple thing, simple task for us to do. It is a huge portfolio by itself. So I think that is probably one area where DevOps was hoping that, when I bring in a DevOps lifecycle, when I bring in this modernized CI/CD microservice kind of development, not microservice, when I bring in this modernized automated continuous integration and continuous delivery and so on, my operations is taken care of. I think that was a myth that has year and year again in the last few years, at least we see, having a traditional IT operations with DevOps, it doesn't really work, because DevOps is focusing on velocity. I mean, imagine, let's go back to the same house example, right? This is my house. I am making renovation to the house on a monthly basis. DevOps is saying, you know what, enough with monthly renovations. Let's do daily renovation. Let's do daily production releases, and my house is still the same. How can I make my house reliable? My process is the same. My incident management process, my change management process is the same. Imagine change management going through 5 approvals for every DevOps releases into production. And that is what today is happening in many organizations, right? So to simplify the whole practices of delivery and operational practices, the magic sand is currently what SRE is today, because whatever we were not able to do, or whatever the operations was struggling earlier, which delivery wanted to achieve or DevOps wanted to achieve, is what SRE is driving the organization towards. And that is making the DevOps SRE is coming in to say that, bring the change. It is my responsibility. I will be accountable for the stability of my house. So in terms of collaboration, like I shared with you, SRE is a shift left model. So once we bring in reliability and resiliency on the operations, SRE is going to focus on the left, on the shifting left. Not only that, a few minutes back, I was sharing with you that as an SRE, once I do my root cause analysis, I know exactly what the problem is. If there is a configuration changes, if there is a code changes, as an SRE, I should be able to pull the code from my source code management like Bitbucket or Git or whatever it is. I would need to pull the code and start working on the code and be able to work as a developer. So as an SRE, you are focused on, your primary focus is on production or operations, reliability and resiliency. At the same time, you are also going to bring in this level of innovation and engineering ways of working by also focusing on code and making changes to the code, making changes to the configuration, which is going to be released in production. So what we are saying is, I mean, some organization will say that, you know what, I mean, when I used to work in operations as well, I remember my delivery team used to say that you don't touch the code. You don't touch the database. You don't do anything in the database. You are not authorized to run anything. If you run anything, if you make changes to the code, you are fired. You know, we have heard this term. I was definitely told this, you know, many years back. I was definitely told this. If you make some changes to the code, if you run something in the database, if you make some changes to the database, you are fired. Those days are gone. You know, I can't wait for 2 months for me to run something in my database for the customer to experience reliability. Today, it's all about customer experience, and we are talking about real-time customer experience, observability. And for me to deliver a real-time experience to the customer, I need to be on my toes to make real-time changes to the codes and real-time changes to the configuration. It could be infrastructure scalability or elasticity. I need to be able to do that. I can't wait for my delivery or development team for a month. At the same time, now the development team is also working very closely with the SRE team or the resiliency team. There is a very good visibility in terms of the backlog prioritization, in terms of product backlog, and also in terms of operational backlog, the post-incident backlogs as well. And those are also being very transparently communicated with each other with the help of error budget, saying that, you know what, this is my error budget, and you can see that my error budget has been burnt because of this reason. And for this reason alone, I want you to prioritize these post-production activities so that I will be able to release that into production. So these kind of conversation is happening today, which traditionally the olden ways of service management, we were not able to have this conversation. And this is where, and that is exactly the reason why SRE needs to be there to bring in this level of collaboration, communication, transparent sharing of, you know, of the gaps that we are having, and of course to accelerate development at the end of the day. Most importantly, driving customer experiences.
Just to add one point, Dinesh, I think we both have done a lot of sessions on SRE, and we've spoken in a lot of events. But the quotation of that infinity loops observation was marvelous. I just took you awe when you told me that. Actually, that's a very clear way of understanding where SRE fits in this whole roadmap, and how do we see operations. That was wonderfully articulated, Dinesh.
Thank you, Santan.
Aparna, over to you.
Yeah, I think I have just heard it also again in another conference. Agile pulled a little further, DevOps pulled a little more further its operations, and all of this pulled to the left. That's what we are trying to achieve and bring in the reliability, which is what is the ultimate goal here. So if you have to just sum up in two, 3 words, what is the business benefit? What is the customer benefit of an SRE? Completely reliability, as the name suggests, but anything else?
In 2 words or 3 words, that is going to be tough. But I think I think in 2 words, what SRE is going to deliver to customer is customer experience. I think that would definitely be the one thing that SRE is going to drive on. It's not going to be customer satisfaction anymore. It is going to be the experience of them. Like for example, today you go to Google and then search for something. Google is going to give you with a million records, and is going to give you in 0.005 seconds, 5 milliseconds or something like that. So how are we able to drive that to the customer? That's an experience for me. So understanding customer experience and driving customer experience. I mean, understanding what is the experience that customer wants and delivering that experience to the customer, especially with the scope of authority on operations and infrastructure. And that is what SRE will be able to support.
All right. Okay. So does this vary with the different industry segments, be it banking, be it agriculture, be it fintech, product setups? Does the SRE role and their responsibility vary, Dinesh? Have you come across anything like that?
I doubt so. I really doubt so. I do have regular conversation. Like what we are doing today. I do have regular conversations with chats, who provide SRE as a service to different industries as well. To manufacturing industries, to banking as well, to various industries. So I think SRE as the practice, I think is the same. It is not going to differ because customers are the same. At the end of the day, customer is a customer, and customer is going to have some expectation, and we are going to deliver the experience for customer. So that part of it is not going to differ at all. It is going to be exactly the same. But in terms of the organization practices of what SRE may do, like it may differ from organization to organization, especially in terms of like production releases. What is the criticality or what is the urgency in terms of it may differ between a financial or a fintech industry to a manufacturing industry. That part of things may differ. So in some industries, there may be a need to for could be as soon as possible. Time to market could be today. Time to market could be within a day or within a couple of days. But for some organization, they said, like for example, I just want to make changes to my website, and yeah, you make changes, and I'll give you a week. So those type of changes, those type of production releases doesn't really need to be need how to say doesn't need the level of velocity as some other organization needs. So that is more in terms of DevOps velocity, but as an SRE role, as an SRE practices, it is going to be the same across industries, across organization. They are also going to focus on delivering customer experience. They're going to focus on delivering resiliency. Again, when we talk about resiliency, right, it is not 100% uptime. The resiliency that is needed by every organization is also different. So according to the resiliency's need, according to the level of reliability, SRE's practice is going to be the same.
Got it. Thank you. And one last thing that I wanted to also know is what is the best action plan? Coming from the background that you are from the operations world, is ITIL the starting point for somebody from an ops background to transition to SRE? What should be the alignment structure be? And most important, we belong to a group called as the DevOps Institute, and that really focuses on the SRE certification. How do you want to get aligned, or what is your say on it?
Okay, so I think there are a few questions over there. Let me take one at a time. I think the first question was with regards to, I mean, where do we start from, right? From someone coming from IT operations and so on. So SRE, again, like I shared with you, it is a technical discipline. Okay, it is not a very process-oriented discipline. It's a very technical discipline. So, but as a SRE, I think it is very important for us to understand two things. SRE has to be highly technical. At the same time, SRE should have an operations mindset. So technical skill sets and operations mindset is very, very important for any SRE. Sorry, just a second. Yeah, so technical skill sets and operations mindset. So this becomes what SRE is today. So where should someone start? Where should an organization start? Start by having a very agile team of getting people from both operations, a delivery background. When I say technical, then that is someone with same time have monitoring knowledge as well, observability knowledge. So getting someone with knowledge today easy. Yeah, it may not be very this in some of the established organizations. So you can start with having a very agile team so that you get someone with the development or with the programming background, put together, let them with each other so that the delivery guy will be able to understand the operations pain point, and the operations guy will also be able to pick up some development or the delivery knowledge from the developer. So that is probably where we can start. There is no one best way to go about this, because um, SRE is a technical discipline by itself. So you can start from where you are today, and see what are the skill sets that SRE needs, and then how do I build the skill sets, or how do I upskill myself. And I think that is probably a recommendation, or that is definitely where what we did as well. Other question, I completely forgot what are the other questions. Santanu, if you or Aparna, uh, if you can let me know what is the next question. I completely missed it.
About our DevOps Institute and the SRE certification, so that it helps the audience also to get aligned.
Yeah, I think SRE Foundation is definitely a good eye opener. It was an eye opener for me. Why? Because like I shared with you, in 2011 I completed my ITIL V3 expert, and from 2011, I think from 2012 or so, I used to do freelance ITIL training. Till today I do ITIL training as well as from a freelance perspective. So the knowledge of ITIL, it is very good to have. Yeah, it is very good to have. Okay, so the knowledge of ITIL is very good to have. The SRE Foundation, when I attended the SRE Foundation certification from DevOps Institute, I had to completely unlearn myself on all I knew or all I learned about ITIL and service management approach and practices, and my working experience especially, because my ways of working for the last 18, I mean, now it's coming to about 19 years or so. For the last 19 years, and what SRE is preaching to us, it is very different to what we had. So SRE Foundation was definitely a very, very big eye opener for me. Why? Because I had to unlearn everything. I had to completely come with a very open mind to understand what SRE is all about. And I think that is very, very important. And I think that is what DevOps Institute has done brilliantly in SRE Foundation. Not only that, early this month, not early this month, end of last month, I was part of probably the very first corporate batch in the world to do SRE practitioner training from DevOps Institute. We were trained by the author. I mean, the lead author by herself, Shivagami. The other co-authors, Suresh, who came in, who a good presentation on practitioners all about. And looking back, we realized that the conversation has so much improved. And looking back to what we started from DevOps Institute, SRE Foundation, to what we are today, we have seen that we have also matured, and all thanks to how we kickstarted this journey from DevOps Institute. And I think the SRE practitioner that DevOps Institute has done today, I think that is also brilliant. The information that has been in there, that has been put together, and I realized that we still have a long way to go after going through the SRE practitioner training. There were a few of them, to be honest with you, there were a few of them who actually who said, Dinesh, we have already done SRE Foundation. We have been doing SRE implementation for the last 2 years. Do we really need to learn SRE practitioner? And I said, I have no idea. I haven't done the program yet. Let's go through the program and let's ask ourselves this question after we completed the program. Person, now that you have attended the program, what do you think? And they turned around and said, you know what, it was a huge blessing to attend this, because now I know what I need to do to take SRE maturity forward for the next leg of the race. And I think that is exactly what DevOps Institute has done with SRE Foundation and Practitioner. Both are brilliant trainings.
Thanks a lot, Dinesh, for this wrap up. I think just a couple of quick cents where these points I think will be a very good points to ponder on and take these points ahead from this discussion we had. So one is the first point which you told. I was having a panel discussion yesterday about how exactly the SRE came in the first place, and it was a very good definition coined by Navya from Catchpoint, that it's not something that was we all know the values that SRA brings, like monitoring, feedback, they all existed forever. But what SRA did is the way we look at with these things. How so monitoring was always there, feedback systems were always there, and that's the same point you were saying as well in the beginning, that these existed. But how do we see from these lenses the operation side of story is what SRE coined using the practices of error budgets, SLIs, SLOs, and A's,
Yeah.
and so on. How do we make things more better? And coining with that point is the user experience part. It's an amazing point because a lot of times we have seen that how from a development mindset we are evolving. It used to be UI before, now it is more of an UX thing. Same goes with the backend teams. It was more about developing a functionality. Now it's more about developing it lightly. Same goes with your ops. It was more about making the system stable. Now it is making the systems up and running reliably. So it's one thing. I think I've read it in one of the reports, if not wrong, with I think it was with State of Survey, the State of DevOps Survey in 2019, where it was more and very clear that now we don't we don't have a customer expectation of giving them new capabilities. That's obvious. Everybody's giving them. The customers are going to come to you and want to stick to you if you make the experience of their engagement happier. So the whole emphasis of having all these in the first place is more about making the experience better. Amazing point, Dinesh. I think the first 2 points are the key takeaways I had today, at least from this discussion. Just a couple of questions from our audience. I have few questions to me, and please, if anybody has some question to ask, please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and go ahead. We have a couple of people who would be willing to ask some question, I know. But the questions that I have on my chat is number one, on an SRA space, basically we are an infra engineer. It's been more than 10 years. We have done multiple roles like Unix, database engineering roles. And now knowing about the importance of SRE and how exactly this is impacting my development teams, I want to pivot to this role. So from a certification point, I got your message. From a knowledge point and impact of this role point, I got it. But how actually do I approach my team to give me a chance to go through this opportunity or get this role?
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with, I think one of the key things that we can do in whatever role that we are doing, one of the things that you will also learn from SRE is that as an SRE, we need to be focused on one thing. How do we make tomorrow better than today? Yeah, and I've read this in I mean, before reading SRE book, I've read in some management book many years back. They said that as any employee within the organization has to focus on three things. One is doing your BAU activity. Okay, do whatever you are doing. That is something that you need to deliver. Second is focus on improvement. How can you improve your BAU activities to drive efficiency? The third is bring in innovation. So for every employee, these three things becomes very, very important. Only then, I mean, that is very essential for you to either grow up in your career or achieve greater heights. We are today focused very heavily on BAU, and very small portion of us, or we spend very less time focusing on improvement. And sometimes improvements are cascaded down from the senior management to us. As an SRE, it is a ground up improvement. So whatever job that we are doing today, whether you are part of database team, or you are part of Unix administration team, or you are infrastructure provisioning team, or network engineers, or just application support engineers, doesn't matter what you are doing. In your job, focus on toil, focus on reducing toil. And reducing toil, I mean, how do you reduce toil? There are only a few things, right? One is you can just eliminate it. That means that throw away that I don't need this, like report, I don't need that report anymore, just throw it away. Second way of elimination is automation. You automate so that you can eliminate the toil that you are working on. So when you work on automating the toil, you need to focus on improving the process as well. The process, automating this process. Now, when you automate the toil, you will start picking up new skills like basic scripting. Easy example, housekeeping jobs. Yeah, if you're talking about Unix, then maybe some jobs that you, some scripts that you have, shell scripts that you have in place, and you are cron tab to pull those activities, and for the cron tab to automatically schedule and run these activities according to what you have configured. So as an SRE, when you start automating some of these activities, you are actually picking up new skill sets, and that is exactly what we want. You are killing two stones with just one single activity by automating, by eliminating toil. First, you are improving your process efficiency, improving your efficiency, operational efficiency. At the same time, you are applying your SRE skills to for you to take one step into being SRE. And that is the very first step. Once you're able to show value, saying that, you know what, you have automated, you have brought in this level of operational, functional, and process related efficiency, your leaders will definitely take notice of you and will start bringing you to other departments of the organization or other divisions of the organization to share what you have done, so that others can also leverage on what you have done, or even for you to lead other teams to focus on this automation. So I think that is a SRE, like what Aparna was talking about earlier. It is one of the top 5 skill sets that LinkedIn has published. It is also, I think, not only from LinkedIn. If you look at what is the other job, I think there was another report which was published in 2019. I can't get the name of the report. In that report, they said SRE is the #1 emerging role, especially for organizations moving towards cloud engineering. SRE engineering becomes very important, and that is the #1 role in that space. So Google has matured. Facebook, or LinkedIn, or Amazon, these tech companies may have matured SRE, but 90% of the organizations are non-tech. They are our enterprise organizations. So for these enterprise organizations, the journey has just started in the last few years. For some of us who are in the call, like you and me today, we are grateful that we started this journey a little earlier. But for some of you, it is not late. You can still start the journey today, because this is going to be the future, and we are looking for engineers who are able to automate their way and making themselves redundant, making their role redundant. Think about this, right? If you're able to automate all the jobs that you're doing today, you are making yourself redundant. By making your role redundant, you are not being redundant. You have elevated your caliber to go to the next level, and you can also focus on bringing this automation. And that is what we have been doing as well. We are focusing on how do we automate, and how do we get ourselves, how do we bring in the level of resiliency and in this SRE space. So yeah, so whichever job you are at, whatever you are doing, focus on toil and toil automation, and that will help you to grow in your career. That is the very first step that you can do.
Very thoughtful, Dinesh. Thank you. And I think we are already over time, but I have one, I can accommodate one more question if there is somebody in this live audience who wants to ask something to Dinesh.
I'm okay to wait for another 10 minutes as well to answer any question you guys have. Yeah, it's up to you all.
Somebody who in the call? Yeah, I have a question from Geeta. Geeta, would you like to unmute yourself and ask this, or I'll just go ahead? Yes.
Hold on. Hey.
Go ahead, Geeta.
So I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Hi, Geeta. Yes, you are.
Hi. Yeah. So I have seen companies where there is a separate SRE org, and they form a separate, within the org there is a separate SRE team for particular product. And I have seen companies where there is a single team for the product, and there are developers and SRE/DevOps members in the team. So I just wanted to check with you, from your experience, which you think what's best, and if there are any pros and cons.
Okay. So there is no one size fits all. Yeah. First of all, thanks for the question. I think many organizations are also struggling with the same question as well. What is the best way to come up with SRE? Do we need to form a separate team? Do we need to hire new people, or what do we do this, right? So that is always the very first question. How do we go about doing SRE? We don't have anyone doing SRE. So do we need to hire anyone, or what? There is no one size fits all. It's up to the organization how they want to do it. So I can share with you my experience on what we are doing and what is the advantage that we are seeing. So first is when we started doing transformation, we were very focused on one thing. We were very focused on saying that this is not a hiring or firing exercise. Yeah, we wanted to, the focus was more of business efficiency. The focus was more of customer experience. The focus was more of resiliency. Yeah, that is the focus, that is the objective. And for that, what we started to do was upskill the current teams, the current production support team, exactly what I've been sharing earlier, right? We got the team to focus automating. By doing that, the team started to upskill themselves. And sooner or later, what has happened is that today we do have team members where they are focused on, we have the L3 activities, right? We have the break fix items, we have the L3 backlogs. Today, those guys who are doing they are now picking up these L3 backlogs, and they are working on these L3 backlogs to push it into production. I mean, I don't want to talk about Standard Chartered because that will be against the compliance. But what I have seen is that organizations like Amazon, for example, they have a concept called as no ops. So they only have one organization where the delivery and the operation or the SRE are the same team. When there is a incident because of delivery, the developers, they themselves put on the hat of a SRE and they focus on this. So that is a very mature organization or very SRE ways of doing, right? We have also seen organization where they have the delivery or the development team on one side, where they have a separate SRE on one side, and they have a production support team on one side. And what has happened here is that now that SRE team are becoming like the L3 team. So they just rebranded L3 into SRE, and they are also doing that, which is also fine because L3 team have the technical skill sets. They just need to build in operation skill sets. But by doing that, I mean, that could be a disadvantage that because there are team members who have the production knowledge. This is where we spoke about wisdom of production. And the only disadvantage there is you are not making use of the production of wisdom that these guys have, and that is going to be kind of wasted in that way. So that could be that side. So again, question, Geeta, there is no solve. It's to the organization or the leading this, but SRE is very clear in terms of what they need to achieve or what they need to drive. And how they support DevOps or DevOps velocity, that is also extremely clear as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Geeta, for the question. I think Vijay, you have raised your hand, so you have one question. You can please come up and speak your question.
Oh, thank you. Sorry for if you are hearing background noise. Sorry for that.
All fine. We are used to it nowadays. Go on.
Dinesh, let me put this way. We are on the same experience age group, where actually I am 20 plus. I mean, let me give some background how I'm coming with this question. So I'm into management, leadership management spectrum in last 10 years. Like it's people management, technical management. It's mainly management leadership role. And 20 years, I'm into complete computer science background. So I'm into this field. I'm just trying to hear this SRE concept, and a couple of days I'm trying to DevOps. So lots of jargons are there in the market, so difficult to. So a couple of years I work in IT. We are using SAFe. We gone through Scrum to SAFe, and that experience is there. Mainly it's product-based background. I have like, so you can understand the kind of spectrum of getting the experience on the production is limited when you are at development side. How myself, now it's a selfish question, as a manager or leader, how I can fit myself, because getting into individual contributors, I'm ready to do that, the market will not accept. That's another challenge. So how can I fit myself into this kind of role, and how can I transition into SRE? Something like I'm not able to fit that particular box into this area. So can you help us to get more insight on this if possible?
Sure. So couple of things over there. So one is in terms of pure people management role. I believe going forward that role may become kind of not needed, because I mean, at least from a SRE perspective, right? You wouldn't need someone as a people manager. We are looking at technical managers. So what do I mean by technical managers or technical leaders? You are able to provide technical leadership to the team, especially from a SRE perspective. When they are stuck, you are able to guide them, help them, and also provide technical knowledge, technical reference, and also show them, how exactly it is done. Okay, you have a monolithic services. How exactly do you break it down into smaller user stories? Okay, now we have this. Okay, let me sit with you, code, show you how it is done. Okay, now that I've showed you how it is done, go and do it. And then, I focus on, maybe I work on other things, like work with maybe I'm a delivery lead or delivery technical lead for one particular application. Maybe I will work with multiple product vendors, or sorry, product owners, and maybe I'll focus on prioritization, backlog prioritization at the same time. Focus a little bit on people skills. Yeah. So that role of pure people management role that we have been used to may no longer apply in years to come. So people like you and me, who may be people managers, what do we do? And I think picking up technical skill sets will become one of the important areas. It depends on where your passion is, whether it is in development or whether it is in even with development as well. Is there any particular tool sets, tech stack that you're going to be focused on, or are you going to support in the testing automation, or whether you're going to focus on the release side of things, or what is your passion right now? So with that passion, picking up a couple of technical skill sets on top of people management skill sets will be very, very value added in the future, or at least as a transition.
Yeah, thank you. And definitely, I agree. People management, those days are gone where people managers where exist now. It's more less people manage. That's I completely aware. The fact only thing, like when you are performing a certain role, technical as well as people management, how you you answer that question. So definitely, it's good to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Vijay.
Thanks, Dinesh. Just to add one point, Vijay, to the statement Dinesh has said, the reason it's going to be and that's my point. The reason it's going to be a difficult place for people managers to move on with the work that they had to do is because the demand of people nowadays is going to be, and future is going to be autonomous. If they cannot come and start delivering, you don't need getting mentored. So it was a I think thing in the past where you need to go and coach people. Now they have to be self-coached. So that's the reason this role is slowly going down and individual skills are getting more highlighted. But as you quoted, this is the way to pivot for the future. One last question we can accommodate. I don't want Dinesh to completely get out of the time. We gave him 45 minutes and we took 1 hour from him. So sorry, Dinesh, for that. Last question is from Pradeep. So Pradeep, if you can just, I think we know Pradeep. Pradeep is one of the DevOps Institute ambassadors himself. So glad to see you, Pradeep, on this call.
Nice to meet you, Pradeep.
Okay. So I am, coming up with the question same what they asked. I have around 16 plus years experience, and in last 1.5 years, what I transitioned myself in. What I didn't do in last 13 years, I did in 1.5 years. I tried to transition myself from people, vertical growth mindset people to a techno-functional. But still, I'm not a person who has done coding any time. So I have that back in my back of my mind that whenever I go, my plan is to I am in this current company for 15 plus years, so I'm planning to change my career path. So what I'm seeing that I have understanding, I have knowledge of DevOps, I have knowledge of cloud, but still I struggle because when I look at the job description and expectation, they expected core hardcore technical person as a manager. I see that, Apple even advertise their, SRE manager. There is no such role, but they are. But when you go through that detail, complete it's technical. That's the expectation. Whereas we understand, and our punchline from DevOps Institute also is that promote the humanism. That is very important. So why market and companies are not understanding the people aspects are more important than the technical aspect, and how to handle that kind of scenario. When I jump into market first on the ground, I need that input.
Okay. So there was quite a number of breaks in between, but based on what I understood, I think the question was people management skills is also very important on top of technical skills. Why they are asking for only technical skills? Is that the question? Yeah. So you are absolutely right. No denying in that. Because people management is not easy, especially today with the millennials coming into, it is definitely not easy, right? And the millennials demand is also changing. So you are absolutely right. Now, I think I will also pull in a couple of words from what Santanu mentioned in terms of mentoring and coaching. So for you to mentor and coach, people management is not, it's not a very, it's not a very easy job, right? It's a highly complicated, so much of dynamics are involved, so much of things are involved in that role. So mentoring and coaching, especially from a technical aspect, is what they're looking at. And that is probably one of the reasons why some roles may require to be highly technical. As an SRE, like what we said, what we shared, SRE manager or SRE leader is definitely a very technical role, highly technical role as well. There could be multiple, how to say, multiple platforms or multiple focus areas within the technical skills as well. It's not only programming that we are focused on. It could be or it could be the CI/CD, within the CI/CD model as well, pick up some technical areas within that, or it could be from a database level, or it could be network. So, or even observability and etc. So there could be multiple focus areas. We may not need to be an expert in every area. If we are an expert in every area, then we are like a god, or we are like the god of programming or god of SRE, right? That is definitely not possible. But that is probably one thing that we can aim to achieve as an SRE. It is a very highly technical role, like what I shared. It's an engineering discipline by itself. So with engineering discipline, today's engineering discipline requires you to be a developer who has development knowledge in any. I mean, you don't need to know Java, Python or Node.js or any other. You don't need to know everything, but with something, have some level of programming knowledge, some level of scripting knowledge, some level of API knowledge, some level of cloud, some level of network, some level of database. These are all some of the things. I mean, again, monitoring. I'm not even adding the rest of things, right? There are of course multiple things to go as well. So some level of each and everything is definitely required. But again, we are focusing on a pie-shaped or a comb-shaped approach. And in that pie and comb-shaped, you need to have some level of expertise in one of these areas. Not to forget, we also have other process and program management like Agile, Scrum, or SAFe, and other process management area. And we also have people management dimension as well, knowing people, communication, influencing skills, and other things. So holistically, this is definitely what leaders of today's are looking for. Prior to only process and prior to just people management, now a heavy portion of it is coming from technical skill sets. So maybe 50% is going for technical on process and process improvement, another 15%, or sorry, another 25% on mentoring, coaching, and other people management aspects. Again, career development and other things, all those things comes into that. So that is probably what leaders of today, or SRE leaders of today, is being looked at.
Thank you, Dinesh.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for your time today, Dinesh. It was a wonderful session. We are very honored to have you today on a Saturday morning. I think it's afternoon for you now, if I'm not
Yep.
wrong.
In fact, I right after this going to go and have my lunch because skip my lunch.
We are sorry. I remembered you when you started. You told it was almost 2 o'clock. I am really sorry to keep you holding this long, but
No,
we
that's
indeed
fine.
had a very exciting discussion. I think there was a lot of easy to infer points, which is not that easy when we read about SRE. So things which we see, but like the infinity loop reference to me, and a lot of personal question about how to pivot to a role like this, or how exactly the roles are evolving over the years, and what from a market point of view you have seen. So excellent participation from everybody today, and thank you, Dinesh, for the time. We look forward to having a couple of more sessions on SRE and the topics where we will be reaching out to you soon, Dinesh, again. But thank you everyone today, and hope you have a good day ahead. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Santanu. Thank you, Aparna, and everyone. Thank you so much for your time as well, and thanks for listening to me patiently. Call me after like few sessions. Let someone else talk about SRE. If the team
Of course.
keep seeing my face, then they will also get bored.
They would,
So
they would
maybe
love to. They would love to see it back.
I'll definitely come back. I'll looking forward to connect with you guys again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good day. Yeah, bye. Stay safe. Bye.